Step into a world of romance and mystery with Tamora Rose, where passion meets purpose and storytelling becomes an act of magic. Today I want to talk about something that almost every writer faces at one point in their life. Something subtle, something sneaky. The thing that can quietly strangle the soul of a story before it ever has a chance to live. And that, my dear friends, is vanity. When you sit down to write a novel, especially one that's going to take months or even years to finish, it's easy to get lost in the dream. The dream of being published. The dream of that perfect book cover and glowing reviews, book tours, and signing events. And that one magical phrase, best-selling author. Even those of us who've been writing for decades, who've published book after book, fall into it sometimes. You start wondering what your agent will think, what the editor might change, how the publisher will market it. And before you know it, you're not writing a story anymore. You're writing a product. And that's where the real danger begins. Because once the story becomes a product, it loses its heartbeat. It happened to me recently. I was deep into the first draft of a new novel, one that doesn't even have a title yet, so I can't even tell you what the title is. And without realizing it, I started approaching it all wrong. I wasn't creating, I was calculating. I caught myself thinking, would this scene sell? Would my readers like this twist? Would my publisher find this marketable? And before long I could feel it, that quiet, unsettling drift away from the heart of the story. The characters started flattening, the prose felt stilted, and I wasn't enjoying it anymore. It was as if I'd skipped straight to the third draft before finishing the first. And that, as every writer knows, is a recipe for frustration. So I stopped. I took a deep breath. And I reminded myself that I am a writer. My job is to tell the story, not sell the story. When you're writing your first draft, your only loyalty should be to the story. Not to your future readers, not to your agent, and definitely not to the invisible critics sitting at the back of your mind, whispering that it could be better or will anyone like this. Forget them. This is the messy, glorious, sacred part of the process. The part where you get to explore and to play and to discover what your characters truly want. Think of it this way. The first draft is where you light the fire. Editing, revising, publishing, that's where you shape the flame. But without that initial spark, there's nothing to refine. So write as if no one will see it. Pretend you're creating a story that will be tucked into a drawer somewhere, found by a curious great-grandchild 100 years from now. Make it real. Make it raw. Make it yours. There will be plenty of time later for the polish, for the cover design and the marketing plan. But right now, the beginning is for storytelling. So once I stopped trying to write a publishable novel and started writing my novel, something shifted. My characters started breathing again, and the dialogue came alive. They started doing ridiculous things like stopping in at the local pub for a pint instead of following my carefully outlined plan. And honestly, it was wonderful. Of course, that meant deleting the first couple days of work, but that's okay. That's why we have the delete key on the keyboard for. Those 2 days weren't wasted. They were lessons. They reminded me that a story isn't born from ego, it's born from honesty. So if you're a writer, especially one just starting out, here's my challenge to you. When you sit down to write, leave your vanity at the door. Don't think about publication or fame or what your neighbor might think when they read your steamy scene in the moonlit library. Don't worry about what's marketable. Worry about what's meaningful. Your job, our job, is to craft a story that's alive, that hums with truth, that carries emotion straight from your heart to the page. Write the book that needs to be written, not the one you think will sell. Writing is an act of vulnerability. It's a dance between courage and surrender, between the desire to be seen and the willingness to simply create for creation's sake. And sometimes the bravest thing we can do as writers is to write quietly, without an audience in mind at all. To trust that, in time, the story will find its readers. But first it has to find you. So to every author watching this, don't let vanity steal your joy. Don't let perfectionism silence your passion. And don't let fear dictate your words. The story you're meant to tell deserves to be told, raw, unfiltered, and real. That's about it for today, so tell me in the comments, have you ever caught yourself writing for the market instead of for your muse? How did you find your way back to the heart of the story? Until we meet again, may your days be filled with passion and just a touch of magic.